Today's episode of At Home with the Sharks can be brought to you by a sponsor like you. If you're a local business looking to make our fans your customers, becoming a presenting sponsor today will get our fans' eyes on your brand and their ears hearing your great limited time promotional offers showcased during these segments. We can even feature your commercial and have a member of your company appear as a guest on our show. Take advantage of this opportunity before time expires. Email Steve, S-T-E-V-E, at jacksharks.com. That's Steve at jacksharks.com. Enjoy the show.
Steve!
I hear you now, Coach. Awesome. Good to see you. I guess good morning.
Good morning, yeah.
Good afternoon for us here in Jacksonville, but it's glad to have you on. Before I introduce you back to the fan base, tell the fans where you're calling in from on the other side of the country.
Yes, I am in Chandler, Arizona still. This is my home from away from Jacksonville.
Nice. And is that like Phoenix, like close to Phoenix or?
Yeah, it's about 15, 20, maybe outside of Phoenix. But Phoenix is so central. Scottsdale, Phoenix, Tempe, Chandler, Mesa, they're all like clustered right in a big circle.
Nice. So you know me and I know you. We always have to have something to keep us going. So what do you got? You got coffee? What do you got? An energy drink?
You already know I got
I
coffee.
already know. So I don't know if you're familiar, but Bucky's is a new gas station here in Jacksonville, St. Augustine area. And it's a huge Texas gas station chain. You'll love it, Coach. We're trying to get them as a sponsor, but it's massive. It's the biggest gas station I've ever seen in my life. And it's really not a gas station. It's like a shopping mall. That's how big it is. It just keeps going. So anything you need from like jerky, energy drinks, gas, it's crazy.
Out there. You don't have Wawa's out here.
Yeah. Wawa's pretty good too. That was my favorite place to get a sandwich here. So cool. Well, welcome back. Even though you're not physically back in Jacks, we're happy to have you back as the head coach of the Sharks. So how does it feel for you to be back with a team that you built and won a championship with?
It's exciting. I'm refreshed. A couple years away with the COVID and being able to step away from the game and kind of get a new perspective and watch this season. Obviously, guys on the team that I recruited and coached with and won championship with were still there. Tough to see, how the season went this year, but definitely energized and ready to go to bring back that dominating Jacksonville Shark brand.
Nice. So a lot of people argue, and I'm one of them, that 2019 was the best season in the history of the Sharks organization, from the ground up, from the front office to the coaching staff to the players on the field. And a lot of fans agree. Some people go back and forth. Obviously, the Sharks have been around a lot longer than I have been working here, but 2019 definitely was, for me, my experience, best year our organization's had. The awards prove it, the play on the field, the record, and the trophies, obviously.
Indeed.
So Steve let me borrow them for the interview. So technically, so what did it take? Because I know that wasn't something that was in April to August. I think this started way back, probably after we lost in the playoffs in Carolina, just the week after that, getting things back and going. And I remember saying it in the January of that year, that you had the best offseason out of any coach as far as recruiting, the guys you were signing, open tryouts and things like that. It was really impressive what you did before the season ever started. So I guess my question is, what did it take to build that 2019 championship team that a lot of people argue was the best team for the Sharks?
Like you kind of hit the nail on the head. It was collective effort, from the front office support, down to the coaching staff, players buying in. It was a special year, and I could feel it. I used to say it throughout the year. From the staff to the players we were able to get to come together and sign, and a mix of veterans and rookies, hungry guys. We just had a different aura about ourselves that year, all the way around. I think that being that NAL, this was Jacksonville's third year in NAL. Obviously, you get better with every year. I think we kind of figured out, I know I did, as far as like this model of the structure with the NAL compared to other leagues in the past that Jacksonville was in, how to really recruit and who to recruit, that's going to be dynamic and play at a high level, in this league. And it definitely, it all hit on all cylinders that year. Again, like you said, we had front office awards, all the way down. So, I mean, just the deals that we had that really kept players happy. The support that I got from the front office to be able to build that team was tremendous. So, it took a team effort, and to go 15-1 is just remarkable. That's special. And sometimes those years happen, and you just got to understand that it's a special year. And sometimes, they come around again, sooner than later, but, you can't take anything away from that year and what everybody contributed to the success of that year. And then being able to finish it off with the championship game and the way we did it was awesome.
Awesome. And I always say, and I honestly, this is going to be my 6th season with the Sharks. So out of the 5 seasons I've been traveling with the team, your locker room that you had in 2019 was by far the best locker room presence I've ever seen, where the egos were at an all-time low and spirits were at an all-time high. And no team that I've seen, Sharks or not Sharks, amplified the value of being a teammate in that locker room, and how guys who were mega stars on the team to guys that were just pulled in that week to help out with injuries, everybody was there to win together. It was incredible. Is that something that you expected to happen, or was that as unique of an experience for you to witness, the guys that you had in that locker room just all coming together? Even though we were on a win streak, we were always playing like it was 1-0 and we had to win, and our backs were against the wall, even though they really weren't. Everybody was just in to fight, and it wasn't about getting stats. It wasn't about, records. It was just about winning that game. Was that unique to you, or is that something that you built, or is it just the guys that you got?
A combination of all that.
Yeah,
it definitely is, because, in speaking to some of the guys that were there in 19 that are still there now, they speak of that same difference. It just was different. And there's components, key components that build that type of culture. And that's what I was about that year. The focus coming into the season was rebuilding the culture of hungry players, competitiveness that creates that edge. When you come off, a championship season, look at Kansas City last night. It's very difficult to maintain the edge and the drive to get to the top. It's just psychologically tough to do. And so that's your fight as a head coach to try to, emulate that same hunger and that drive and competitiveness in your locker room that got you there. And so it depends on the personalities that you're able to get and you choose to get that's going to drive that, And so, we brought back the right veterans and brought in some hungry young guys, and it was a great mesh, and they all were built similarly, mindset wise. And it was just very easy for them to buy into the direction of our leadership, from, our coaching staff to our player leaders on the team. Whereas I don't know that they'll be able to do that this year.
Absolutely. And a lot of the fans don't know this, but during the arena football offseason, really your headquarters, your home base, where you're going to operate, recruit players, sign, and make a lot of major decisions as a head coach is actually from your home. And a lot of the coaches, it's the same thing. Not every coach in the NAL lives in the same city that they coach in. And that's been like that since its inception. And that goes back to the AFL too. A lot of the guys, you're working from home the majority of the year. Sure. And then when it's in season, it's no sleep, in Jacks, apartments. You got to do what gets the job done. But tell us a little bit about how long you've been living there in Arizona. Is that your office that we see in the background, or living room, or
just living room?
Cool.
Yeah. So I've been in Arizona for forever, since I was born. Off and on, with football's taking you to different places, different cities, but this has always been home base for me. This is where my kids are. and that's where my parents resided for the longest before our mom passed away last year. But so my brothers are here. So Arizona is a home base in the off season. In the off season, I just, like you said, I work from home, recruit. We're going to do tryouts, in Jacksonville a few times before the season. But other than that, I'm involved with Exos, which is, NFL draft training out here as well. And so kind of keeps me grounded with guys that fall through the loops with the NFL level to an extent. So, and just training players and just it all comes together. At some point, these guys chase the NFL dream and then they end up falling through the cracks. And then, I got a relationship and I'm building relationships constantly with players that may end up coming and help the Sharks one day, so, but yeah, this is definitely where I do all my recruiting and phone calls and things like that, building rosters from here most of the time.
Awesome. Would you say Arizona is probably a help for you recruiting wise? A lot of great guys that you had on that 2019 team were actually guys that you found in Arizona. Cody Saul, I believe Seth Ellis. There's a longer list than that, obviously, but
Sure.
Tell me a little bit about that, how Arizona's the state of Arizona, that area that you're in, has really helped you recruiting for arena football.
Yeah, I mean, that team definitely had some Arizona players. Marcus Smith comes to mind as well. Arizona connection, all league DB. So obviously as coaches, we kind of lean on our relationships. That's why I'm always trying to build relationships with players from any level that, you never know who you come across one day that could, help you win. So, but Arizona is a good weather state. So there are a lot of players that train, in the winter, like as we're coming in right now, these cold months, that train in Arizona, the Floridas, these warmer climates. So I meet a lot of players. I only have my group from Exos, but those players have players. They end up coming to me and training in the off season. And so it just builds your network as far as, high level players. So, but it's a training state, from high school to college, it's warm weather. So, and not only that, it's just football is big out here now. And so kids are training more. Like back in the day, it wasn't happening, but kids are training, high school kids, youth kids. There's a lot of training and football going on in Arizona. So it's definitely, I would say, a mecca of, football and training. Definitely a bigger state, but based on the weather and then just the sport itself out here.
And it just shows that you're able to get that nationwide talent, whether they're coming here to train with you or they're local guys from Arizona. Obviously, you have staff in Jacksonville that helps you find the local guys here, which Florida obviously is a very big football state from the high school to pro level. So I guess my next question is, let's go back to you as a player. One of the biggest things that stood out to me was that you got to play here in Florida in college at UCF. Tell me a little bit about your experience being a Division I athlete at UCF back in the golden age, where they had a really the first time the program had major, national attention and success with you and Dante Culpepper. Yeah.
So that was 1997 out to UCF. And I got the chance to play with Culpepper 2 years, 97, 98. That was probably UCF's third year, I want to say, Division I, really making a name for itself. We ended up going 9-2 my senior year, and kind of, Dante being a high caliber first round player put UCF on the map, so to speak. So I was fortunate to be involved with being one of the pioneers, I guess, of UCF, really hitting the scene nationwide, because we really, at those 2 years, we weren't known for being able to compete on a national level with some of these teams, like Nebraska back then when Tom Osborne was there, and they were dominating people like 55-0 and stuff like that, and we were beating them at halftime. And then started playing these SEC schools and going down to the wire with Ole Miss, Mississippi State, South Carolina, some of these teams. Nice. That was unheard of back in the day for UCF to be able to be in a game like that. So that's kind of where it all started. We started getting national attention and a little bit of respect, nationwide. Being that we also weren't even in a conference then, we were independent with no these other teams. So we ended up going 9-2 our senior year and didn't even go to a bowl game that year because we weren't connected with a conference and we couldn't travel with the fan base. And now we were, UCF was our home field was the Citrus Bowl.
Yep.
So we didn't put a lot of fans in the Citrus Bowl because obviously students have to travel from UCF
Yeah,
camp.
campus is on the other side of Orlando. Yeah.
This site, and it's just crazy how it's grown totally
Yeah.
from top to bottom. So, but definitely was a great atmosphere in Florida. Florida players in general have a lot of pride. You know, it's a major state for football. You know, and so being I kind of carry that mindset now in recruiting as well. Like I recruit the South. Obviously, Jacksonville Sharks are in the South, so it makes sense to it's obviously a dominant state, not only state but region with the South, all the SEC schools down there, and
Yep.
it's a local, parameter for Jacksonville for players to, be able to play and still be close to their families and drive to the South, those southern states like Mississippi, Georgia, the Carolinas and Florida, of course, so a lot of talent down there to pull from to, build a good roster.
Awesome. I know this is a hard question because when you were there, you were a playmaker and a top target on the offense, but what was your favorite moment just at UCF in general as a player?
That's tough. Favorite moment at UCF. I would say my favorite, but memorable. I would say probably the last game of the season. We were so close to like really upsetting some teams. It's really more heartbreaking than anything. We had Auburn, pretty much beat with like this left, and probably could have won that, and then it just fell apart within the last 2 minutes. But so can't say it's my favorite, but a lot of moments come to mind against SEC schools, almost getting wins, but we didn't get it. But I'd say just the last game of the season, we dominated New Mexico, and I was able to take a 91-yard punt return back to the house.
Cool.
That was an awesome, return. I think that's the longest in the history of UCF. And that was a senior, so it was a big moment. Our last home game in front of the crowd. That's how, the season ended, and that's kind of how my college career ended. So that was a big moment.
Yeah, and you also had even more successful year, more years and more success in arena football with a ton of accolades, offensive player of the year in the AFL. You also got rookie of the year, I believe, in the AFL. Offensive rookie of the year.
I was up for it. I ended up getting hurt, missing a couple games, so I missed.
Okay. Yeah.
Rookie.
But you played for a lot of different teams. You went around the nation playing arena football, and not everybody can say they had 11-year, 10-year career in arena football. What would you say your favorite moment? And even harder, what was your favorite team that you played for, not coached, played for in arena football? And this is probably late 90s, early 2000s.
I actually fell in love with Orlando, man, when I first –
oh my gosh, dude, we got to edit that. No, I'm just kidding.
Jay Gruden was the coach, and he kind of started, and that's when you kind of I really didn't care for arena football at first. I'm chasing the NFL dream, and then I was a rookie. I was young, and Orlando's a fun place to play.
Yeah.
It was very fun. I was playing for Jay, and that's when I first fell in love with the game. And started really having fun as a professional and kind of taking to the whole, newness of it for me. So that was, and I loved Florida and Orlando. I went to school there. So I really enjoyed playing, obviously at, the same city I went to college ball with. So a lot of fans knew me and friends. And so I was a fan favorite. So that was a fun place to play for me, being that, and I went to UCF and was young, and it was my first experience of the game itself. So I really enjoyed that. And Jay is a good coach, and we had some success there. So that I said probably my favorite place to play.
Nice. So you had a great career there. You loved it there. It was like home for you. And then you became the head coach of the Sharks, where you're known for beating them. So that's awesome. And that was back, if I remember correctly, that was when the Arena Football League in general, but Orlando specifically, fans were like, it was packed, like all the way to the rafters. There were people getting turned away because it was sold out.
It was crazy atmosphere. One of the toughest places to play probably back then, the Jungle. It was like I said, it was packed, and it was just fans were like really, really, involved in the games and whatnot. So it was a great atmosphere to play in for sure. They were just coming off championships right before I got there too, so the fan base was built and everything.
And was Tampa there with you guys as well? Tampa Bay Storm, were you part of that
Yep.
rivalry, the I-4?
Rival going with Tampa, the 1-4. I was a part of that rivalry with them. Several tough games with them. No matter who, was winning, had the best record coming in, we had battles, and it'd be both sides would win at some point. Yeah, so it was a great rivalry for sure.
It's safe to say that success follows Saib early, because you went from a successful college career, playing career, then you went into coaching, where you got to coach and coordinate at some of the biggest franchises in arena football: the Arizona Rattlers, Orlando Predators, Jacksonville Sharks. You've also gotten to coach with some major coaches in the game, some who are still coaching, some who aren't. Which arena football coach would you say influenced your coaching career the most?
Well, you learn from everybody. You should, so
Yeah.
I can't take anything away from coaches that I've coached under. I've had the opportunity to get better under. I spent probably the most time, because I played in Arizona as well, under Kevin Guy, because I played for him 1 year, then I coached there here. So, 3 years, that's the most, I guess, stretch of the same team I've worked under. So a lot, and they had success there, and the model that has been successful, as of late, was definitely the Arizona model. So, Jay coached arena in a different era. That was a two-way game, and then by the time I got to Arizona, my success as a coach had a lot to do with, the Arizona model, I guess. So I'd say I brought a lot from that, because actually my first year coaching with Arizona was Danny White was just leaving Arizona. So, KG and I, he kind of embraced some of my ideas, about offense and things. And so we kind of built the offensive terminology and things. He had like a structure from San Jose he brought, but he definitely listened to a lot of my ideas and what I thought about, offense and stuff. So I got a chance to really grow and be used with my ideas and stuff in that system. That first year we went 18-2, went to the championships. He really helped me evolve, as a young coach.
Awesome. So it sounds like that he has a huge influence, but like you said earlier, it's every coaching experience that you gain something from it. It's like putting a puzzle together over the years and stuff that really fills in who you are as a head coach. And it sounds like you've had a lot of great experiences in Arizona, but everywhere you've coached, you picked up on something. Tell me, since it's kind of interesting, because we're both going to get to witness this year, that the NAL is evolving, and now we're moving back to the Ironman style of play, which will be the first time the NAL has ever embraced it. Did you ever get to play Ironman, or were you around any other players or coaches that played in the Ironman system?
Yeah, it's funny you should say that, because I've been talking to some older guys, and they're like, "Yeah, you were a specialist." No, I played two-way.
Yeah, I think we're gonna hear that a lot this year. Yeah.
No, it was a two-way. Don't slight me. I played two-way for Jay, because I was a specialist at first. I was known for being a specialist, but when I got a little banged up my second year in Orlando, I actually had to move to the two-way position because I had an ankle injury or something, and he just wanted to get someone else in the lineup just in case I went down, because I was like always, get re-aggravating or whatever. So that's when my start at two-way was with Orlando. And then when I moved out to LA after that, I got traded. I was behind a known specialist, Chris Jackson, obviously at the time was one of the best specialists in the league. I had to move to the two-way position to get us both on the field. And so I went and played two-way behind Kevin Ingram. Kevin Ingram ended up getting hurt like 5 or 6 games into the season. So for the last 10 games, I started at two-way, receiver DB, in LA. So, and I had a pretty good year at it. So, I definitely played both sides for those 2 years. So I definitely, I've done it. I know how to do it. People don't think I did, because after that I went to Arizona, and then from there I was pretty much a specialist. Then we went to the one-way, player, and so it kind of got lost. Those years got lost in the shuffle. But yeah, I had my my years.
obviously receiver is your primary position, but do you think playing in the games as a DB helped you as a receiver?
I would say receiver. I think receiver helped me at DB more so.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, because I think when you get on the other side of the ball, being that you have a receiver mindset of how to like lean and move your body on people, like you could see it easier. Like as a you go to DB and somebody's trying to lean left and go right, like those things you can kind of see. I feel like it's because of my receiver experience. When I went to DB, I felt like I got worse as a receiver because you're getting less reps. Two-way guy, you got to practice your defensive stuff, and then you're just taking away the reps. So when I would go back to offense, I would feel a little bit out of place. Like my routes didn't feel crisp or what have you. Just felt like I was losing my offense doing, the two-way game during that time.
Okay.
My timing was off, my routes and things. It was weird. I felt like I was definitely getting worse as a receiver. As far as
better as a DB.
Getting better as a DB.
Wow.
I felt like it was for me. So, and again, I only had that year and a half, 2 years of experience at it. So I wasn't a 5-6 year two-way guy that really got used to it. That was only 1 year full time with it. And it was just, I was playing with it. It was new for me to get back to that side of the ball. But I played two-way in high school, but I played more safety than I did corner. So different, you're just kind of roaming back there at free safety, I'm not doing a lot of man-to-man, technique with the corner position. But so, but intellectually, as far as like, mentally, definitely as a coach, playing both sides really teaches you the game for sure. Jay was, really big on, I think my influence with DB, because he's the first one that got me defensive back, but then I had Doug K at defensive back, coaching me as well. Some of the older great, coaches in the arena football.
Nice. I noticed just even with my son Aiden playing Pop Warner, he plays tight end and center, but him getting to get reps on defense in practice as a defensive end really taught him a lot, because he would go up to me and I'd be like, Aiden, you're getting beat off the edge, when you're playing tight end. And he goes, well, the kid's doing this and that. And I'm like, does it make you mad? And he's like, yeah, I don't like when he does that. I go, all right, when you play defense end, do the same thing. And so he starts to learn how to block against it. But then when he's at that position, he knows what aggravates it. He knows what the little tricks and things like that, the little techniques that he normally wouldn't just do if that was his only position, I guess. So getting to play two ways, especially that young, helped him a lot. But so tell me, just in general, as a coach, now you'll be coaching the Ironman system. How does this affect an NAL coach in 2022 with the Ironman rules enforced? How does that change how you would have maybe coached in 2019 when it wasn't, that system?
Well, it changes. It's hard to say how much, because you still, even the last few years, at least I did, I always had a two-way mind set.
Yeah.
You had, you always had to prepare for injuries in games because of the numbers of who could play two positions. So, the guys like Mike Williams played fullback, he played, the edge, he played tight end, so I was already thinking about the multiple positions that guys could play, with Squirrel was a defensive lineman back in college, and then now he played fullback for us. ZB, Zach Brown was a fullback, Mac, Cody Saul was a receiver. Most of the guys we had
were playing Ironman.
We're already accustomed to that. I've had all, those guys, most of them, help me on the other side of the ball. Cody, in big games against Carolina, would come in and match up issue for their DBs at the time and catch a deep ball on them, whatever, but then turn around and play Jack and so on and so forth. So there were some strictly one-way guys, of course, on the team, but that's always kind of been arena football, period, because injuries happen, and as you go, then you're going to always have pieces moving and be able to adjust accordingly. So, I would say 50% of your roster is definitely two-way guys, regardless, of what rules it is, because of that, so not too far off. Obviously, there are going to be some linemen, especially that got to turn around and rush the passer. They're not used to that. And, can they do that or not is yet to be seen. So there's going to be some DBs that are going to have some receiver, experience and tested on that side of the ball that, you normally don't have. But again, you're talking about two specialists on both sides of the ball that, you don't have to necessarily have them play to the side. So that kind of gives you the leeway, but you're still going to have those ZBs, those type of guys that are two-way guys that have already been doing two-way,
Right.
So this depends. I mean, I think there's some old linemen out there on the market that are probably, not in shape enough to even go both ways, or just not really willing to go both ways, that are probably without that rule, are dominant old linemen. You know what I mean? So, we'll see. And it just all depends on how you build your roster, how you play with the rules, what you're able to get as far as the best players, and you kind of adjust accordingly as you go.
So recruiting is going to be a major factor this year in the NAL. That's definitely for sure. Getting a lot of guys that can play both ways, but also, like you said, securing your dominant guys that are those specialist positions. Let's let the fans get to know you a little better, Coach. I know we were so focused on dominating in 2019. It was hard for me and you really to do anything but work. We traveled, practice. It wasn't really a, April to August is not really a fanfare type thing. We'll see them at the games, but we are, I remember you being in the office, even you were pretty much sleeping here with us, getting stuff done in training camp, surviving off of coffee, energy drinks, the little powder, energy stuff. Hopefully you bring that back, because I love that. It kept me going. So tell me a little bit about yourself. What's your favorite thing? I'll just start writing off the questions. I'll let you knock it out of the park. What's your favorite thing about Jacksonville, Florida?
Geez, I've become a beach guy. I mean, when I first got there, I'm in Arizona. They don't have beaches out here, So, I mean, like, I enjoy the weather, getting out there to the water, backing my truck up. I can't do that in Arizona. I've never done that growing up. And so just a newfound, like, even in Orlando with college, we weren't nowhere near the beach, you know what I mean? So I think, that's new horizons for me, to be by a beach and, be able to get out there in the water and stuff. But as far as that goes, other than that, I love playing in Jacksonville. I love being in Florida. I think the South is kind of, I grew accustomed to it, being that I went to UCF, and the people in Florida, the diversity in Florida and Jacksonville is awesome. I kind of got used to that too, being in college. And then obviously, Jacksonville Shark fan base is just a very exciting fan base to play in front of.
That kind of leads into my next question. What's your favorite thing about being the head coach of the Jacksonville Sharks?
I just think that the brand comes with a lot of prestige, and the ownership group has done a great job over the years, and I just take that on, as far as the expectations that Jacksonville has. And because I'm a very prideful individual myself, and I just embrace it. I embrace the challenge of being in a leadership role to try to get the franchise, these players back to, that type of level of championship caliber play. And I just live it, and it just me, and it just fits, who I am and what I want to be, and that competitive edge. The juices get flowing, and I think it's top to bottom in the organization. So I just embrace that.
Yeah, there's one thing for sure. The fans every season, no matter what year we've had in the NAL, they've proven to be the best fan base, awarded best fan base every single season in the NAL, which is pretty remarkable. They're going to keep that streak going, but and we've heard it from other teams. It's a tough place to play, and a lot of the players and coaches admire the fan base we have as sort of the model for the future for other NAL franchises. We kind of set the bar with what our fan base does, whether it's attendance or the crowd noise or just the atmosphere that they create on the field, which is incredible. Here's a fun one. Favorite place to eat in Jacksonville? Hopefully you can remember. 2019, there's a lot of great places, but there's some new places now. I'm pretty excited to show you some of the one where I'm going to take you to Bucky's, but I'll let you pick. What was your favorite place to eat in Jacksonville when you're here? And looking forward to coming back and eating that.
I don't remember some of these names. I had a taco shop by the
Ooh,
house too a lot. I don't even remember
Beach
the name of
Boulevard.
it.
Yeah.
Yep, yep. There was. I'll tell you, my favorite thing to eat was those surf and turf tacos though down there.
Mm.
I don't remember the name of the restaurants, but yeah, the surf and turf tacos. One of my favorite things with that steak, shrimp, avocado. Looking forward to have. They don't have those out
Ooh,
here.
really?
Mm-hmm.
Arizona doesn't have, oh, but I guess because not really the surf and turf really, but obviously Arizona, the
The,
Tex-Mex. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's got to be more of a Florida thing, I guess. Cool.
yeah, water. So I mean, surf and turf tacos. So I miss the taco shops that have like the shrimp steak type tacos and stuff like that.
Ah.
Out here, West Coast, there's
Mhm.
Mexican food I have out there. The ownership, Steve and those guys like to take me to eat Mexican food at times over there.
Yep.
But
Good
this
old
is the real
burrito gallery. Yeah.
taco.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yep. And they have told me that. Yeah.
Better fish options over there.
Yep. Awesome.
Mhm.
Let's see what else I got on here. Favorite football movie. We always, when we traveled, you always made sure we're watching football movies, but what's your favorite one?
Right. I would say, there's a lot of good ones. Probably.
Man, this is the toughest
I
question I've asked you today.
say uh, Jerry Maguire.
Oh, okay. That's a good one. Not because the
Yeah.
Arizona Cardinals.
No, just now I'm more in the back scene of things, management type stuff.
Yeah.
It's interesting. That was, but yeah, any given Sunday, those ones come to my mind. Remember the Titans? Those all come to my mind.
Yeah.
Hmm.
People make fun of me. One of my favorite movies is Moneyball. It's not even a football movie, but I love the front office, behind the scenes
Right.
atmosphere. These people have regular lives and how the working in the sports industry affects you mentally and just going
Right.
around when the daughter goes, "Is everything okay, Dad?" When the team's losing, like, "I'll be
Yeah.
fine, don't worry." Yeah, kids are talking
Yeah.
at school.
Hmm.
Yep. So, all right. Well, I'm glad you picked Jerry Maguire because my next question relates to that. You've got to work with tons of athletes, especially at your job out in Arizona, training guys, NFL combine guys, and things like that.
Sure.
Who's probably I know one off the top of my head, but who would you say is probably the most, as of today, highest profile athlete you ever got to train?
Well, obviously, I got a lot of notoriety from coaching DK Metcalf.
Yep.
I'd probably say him off the top of my head, but I'm actually working with Martavius Bryant right now from
Yeah.
Steelers, trying to make a comeback, and actually supposed to do um, some interview stuff tomorrow, I guess, with him. But he was a great player as well, so he's getting a lot, I guess, attention based on his comeback because he was a pretty solid player, but talented guy. But obviously, DK right now is kind of big as far as being like the next Megatron.
Yeah.
We'll see, but there's a lot of first rounders that came through. It just they all had their time where they were kind of hot. But I've had guys like Corey Davis went first round, and Will
Oh,
Fuller
wow.
went first round, and Christian Kirk went second round, and DK went top second. So had some names in there. Mike Williams, receiver right now, that had crazy like 150 yards last night or this weekend, I should say.
Yeah.
So I've worked with a lot of high caliber guys, but it's been fresh the last 3 or 4 years. So no one's had that like 8-10 year like all pro career
Right.
yet as
Yeah.
I've started. They're all young guys.
DK is probably the most likely, I would say, just because his
Yeah,
success in Seattle right now, and he's got a good system with Pete and
sure.
obviously Russell Wilson. And like you said, he's just a stud athlete.
Yeah,
So, Coach, when these guys come to you, because I remember this was Ole Miss DK Metcalf before he even got drafted. I remember you working out with him and things like that. Did these guys
sure.
come to you specifically for, I would say, like maybe training for the draft, like doing all those 40, like the shuttle, the 40, or is it specifically for hand drills, receiver stuff, or is it mental stuff, or all the above?
No, it's specifically for receiver. Exos does all the speed, agility training for it. I pretty much um, just do the wide receiver mental side of things. You know, I stay out of all the agility and speed and all that. That's them. And I just do the receiver training, getting them ready for the drills they're going to see at the combine, getting ready for interview questions they might see. And again, these guys are going to make millions of dollars, and they have agents, and so sometimes they come from me for certain aspects of it, and sometimes they go to another coach, or sometimes they go to
Right.
basically who the agency is. It's a lot of money involved, and these agents have their relationships with different coaches and trainers and all this. So it's really a circus, of like people them and who they trust, and they're always looking for the edge. And so, I'm not the only guy touching them. There's a lot of people touching them.
Right.
Trained for these tests that they're going to be seeing once the combine comes around. So, but then I have guys that come back, after their first year and just come get touched up on drill work.
Tune up.
And routes, and like DK came back the second year, and he was trying to work on a few things his receiver coach said he needed to get better at, which is getting off the ball with vertical threat and these type of things. And like Martavius right now has kind of been out of it, obviously, so he's getting back in shape, and I'm pretty much getting him ready to like be able to just jump right into a roster right now and be able to play. So with him, we're doing a lot of just building him up, building his stamina up with in and out of breaks and getting his footwork right. And then at some point I'll get a body in front of him, kind of control environment where he can start kind of doing some aspect of one-to-ones and things, because he's not going to turn around. If he gets signed, he's got to turn around and just plug and play right now. So different strategy with him.
Nice. And ever since, this is probably good for you as well, but ever since the Jaguars had their new coaching staff turnover, we've actually started building a good relationship with them. We had a couple, the actual like head of scouting came to our last regular season home game and has been trying to build a relationship with our organization, which is phenomenal for the Sharks. We've always wanted to, partner with the guy, we call them the guys across the street,
Right.
And so the fact that they were showing interest, not just in our players, but the other players on the opposite side, I think at that time it was the Carolina Cobras, but just to see them in our building and wanting to get our relation, build a relationship with us was incredible. And I'm hoping we keep that going. So, and a lot of people ask, well, why haven't you guys been doing that for years? But sometimes it just takes a change. Change of staff. And it is funny to see, because a lot of the guys are not from Florida, not from Jacksonville. And so they weren't sure where the arena was, and I'm like, well, it's right by the stadium, well, dude, I'm from San Diego, or I'm from, whatever. So it's cool that we are building this relationship with the NFL coaches and scouts in our area. I think it'll definitely help our guys get more exposure, but also the Sharks, obviously, we want to be a ground for players that want to come, show that they can still play or stay in shape, because a lot of times the NFL can be pretty brutal. You'll be playing for a couple of years, and then out of nowhere, it's shoot, where am I? So there's a lot of talent on that side of the building, whether it's practice squad or not. We're definitely a way that these guys can still stay in shape and still be a proving ground as a professional athlete. All right. We're almost done. Thanks for bearing with me. So typical off-season Saturday for Coach Burley, off-season now. Just want to get the fans to get to know you more. What's something we'd expect from you on an off-season Saturday? Watching college football?
Oh, yeah. Well, this Saturday, my daughter had a tournament. So
nice.
She had a showcase basketball. She's a junior. So really, if she's got a basketball tournament, I'm doing something with the kids as far as like going to a basketball tournament or training session or something. Then if she don't have training or anything like that, then I'm watching a nephew play, or I'm definitely watching some college football for sure.
Have you been thrown out of a game yet as a dad?
No, I try I try to be the good dad,
Yeah.
Sometimes it's tough, but I try not to get too crazy, if I disagree with what I see, out there. I'm pretty much the quiet dad. I tell her in the car.
I got to definitely get your advice. You're going to need to mentor me, because I almost got through at Aiden's Pop Warner game against West St. Augustine. Oh man, the refs are awful. See, Aiden's team is like the Alabama Pop Warner. They're beating teams by 30. And so the refs, they only throw flags one way because they want the game to end quickly. But it just happened this week. We played a team that was really good, and they were undefeated, and Aiden's team was undefeated. And of course, we get the ball and go all the way down to the red zone, and then all of a sudden offsides on us, false start on us. pretty
Wow.
much anything to get us. And so it wasn't just me, but all the parents are getting pretty upset. And I'm like, how do we have 15 flags on our team and your fans and you're here in St. Augustine and you've thrown one flag and it wasn't even an on-field thing. It was like an off the field, unsportsmanlike or whatever. So I got pretty upset. But tell us a little bit how your daughter's doing. I know she's a junior. She's actually gotten some attention, hasn't she? She's been playing really well. She was a star. I know she played varsity her freshman year. I remember.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned that. Yeah.
She's doing well. She'll be a junior. The team she plays for, the Hamilton High School, is they went to state the last 3 years, I believe.
Yep.
So it's just going to be another year. They're going to be competitive and try to get back to state again. They got a good program. They're, I think, a Nike 100 team. So they're definitely going to have a lot of eyes on them. They've had girls that went on to Hampton, I think, and play some guards before her. So good program, very competitive. She's just been playing like year-round basketball. So like AAU, I go to a lot of games. Like there's a lot of basketball being played nowadays. Let's just say
it's a year-round thing. Yeah.
It is. So like yesterday was just a showcase. I just put her in, get some more film. So the game is really not about who wins or loses. She was just a showcase about her skills, just trying to keep her, on the court, getting better. So because it's a kind of a dead period between AAU season and the high school season, which is coming up November. So we're just jumping in like showcase tournaments and, things like that, just to kind of keep her on the court, keep her active. That's all that was this weekend. So, but yeah, she's primed and ready for her junior year here coming up November 1st. She got some interest from, it was a D1 back east. I slipped the name, but they wrote her a letter. And, so she's starting to get like letters and things like that.
Yeah.
So
it's junior years, that's a big time. It's
right.
Time to start looking and weighing your options. Absolutely.
Trying to get her going. So,
and are you mentoring her on that?
Well, absolutely. I'm a coach, obviously. She finally, I usually put her with different trainers, kind of stay out. But at this point, she's finally kind of bought into like, I know a little something, Dad don't know anything, but you're a football coach. So okay.
Right. I believe it. Yeah.
Think about basketball, but so we're turning the corner where she trusts me to train her more so now than other trainers. So we've been in the lab and, it's more mental than anything, as sports go. So really, I'm not saying I'm a magician when it comes to training, but just getting her mentally prepared. Sometimes I make her get up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym and, twice a week, because if you're going to be a Division I player, that's the type of stuff you're going to do.
You got to have a Division I routine.
Just doing things she doesn't want to do, to the extra and those type of things. She's really embraced it. And so we're looking forward to the season to see how she does.
Awesome. Any chance you're going to give her a tour of UCF? Have to, Dad.
I would love to, we'll see. We'll see how it goes, man. She wants to go to school in the South. So there you go.
There you go.
Maybe.
That's perfect. Yeah. So she's definitely excelled. I remember you showing me stuff of her from her freshman year playing varsity, and she's been excelling ever since. And hey, whether you're a football coach or not, decision making is decision making, and like you said, building a routine and things like that is it makes a huge difference. One of the quarterbacks that won the Super Bowl last year, Tom Brady, is known for that. That's all about he's keen on his routine. So awesome. Any hobbies outside of sports? It sounds like your life is just stuck in sports, but tell the fans if there's any, if you have time for any.
It's what you do, again, I enjoy just watching the kids. You know what I mean? That's if I'm not doing this, I'm watching her. I'll go to her trainings. My my other daughter's coming up. She's gonna be playing volleyball. I have nephews that play ball, so I really get enjoyment out of watching them train and do their thing and stuff. And so, other than that, nothing outside the normal, like everybody else, watching some Netflix or relaxing. Good dinners and food and things like that.
Yeah. Obviously, you stayed busy in 2020 and 2021, really. It's almost like you had a sabbatical as a professor. You get that year off to just, focus on your priorities. But now that you're back as the head coach of the Sharks, what's and this is the one of the last questions. What's something you didn't do in 2019 as a coach that you're looking forward to doing in 2021 or 2022? Sorry.
Wow. Something
That's a good one, right?
Yeah, That's stump the swab for real. uh, I, I don't know that anything comes to head, something in my mind right now about like what I didn't do, but I do. I do want to be better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, cool.
You can always get better as a coach. You can always get better as a person, and just really looking forward to seeing how I can get better. And just really, obviously, it's a two-way game, so it's a new challenge. But yeah, I don't really know if there's anything that I didn't do that I want to do this year. I say one thing that I do now that comes to mind is that I want to do more for the players. I want to take advantage of my time with them, if that makes sense. So like
Yeah.
I was just kind of embracing the whole thing. Like you're sitting in front of players as a head coach 3 times a week, maybe even 4 times a week. And you have like a team meeting for like 10, 15 minutes. And like, it's valuable. I think we kind of just lose the power behind that when you have a group of young men that you really can lead and embrace life and give them direction. I want to be able to really touch the kids, because I call them kids, but touch the players, not only on the field this year, but like off the field and in our relationship. So I think that's one of the things I kind of want to gear myself up for the next few months on what kind of messages I can bring to these players that can help them, because their life off the field affects football. It does. You know what I mean? So a lot of things that are going on, distractions and whatnot, and problems they have outside of football with either their families or whatever situation they may have going. I want to have a great plan this year to help them with their distractions and keep them focused, playing well for the Sharks, but not also just help them as young men and young fathers and whatnot.
Awesome. Last question. Obviously, one of the things you're known best for when you were here in Jacksonville is you're one of the best recruiters in the NAL. I'll say it. It's my opinion, but I think a lot of people can agree. You definitely. I mean, just look at our roster in 2019. How many of those guys went all NAL? How many of those guys were Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and things like that? What is something you can tell to players that might be watching this video? What they can expect if they play for you in 2022, whether you're recruiting them or open tryout guys. I mean, name it, star player to guy that you might just sign for a workout. What is something that a player will know or can expect from you as a head coach?
I would say we're going to definitely rebuild Jacksonville's brand back to this dominant brand, but it starts with character people. There's going to be a lot of athletes that I'm going to talk to as you recruit and get to know people and new athletes. But, we're starting with rebuilding the locker room with the right character that Jacksonville Sharks is known for, that got us to that championship run the last time we got there. It was built on the people and the character in that locker room, along with obviously talents. But we definitely it's going to be a competitive locker room, not only talented, but competitive and great character guys.
Awesome. Well, hey, Coach, I appreciate you doing this today. I know it was longer than we both expected, but it was awesome. I think half of it was me just wanting to catch up with you, I love that we got the opportunity, because I always felt, me and you on the sidelines, that we never really got the chance that much. Obviously, we got to meet season ticket holders, but it was like, see you on Saturday. We're so busy Monday through Friday and stuff. It's so hard to get time out. I'm hoping that's one thing I didn't do in 2019 that I want to do more is just get out in the community more, get to really sit down and actually talk to the fan base and things like that. Right. And this I think is a great tool for fans to get to know you. If they didn't know your favorite movie, didn't know your place to eat, there's a chance, fans, if you go to Jack's Beach, you might see Burley. He's a big fan of the beach area. So I just think it was cool that we got to do this. I don't know if you train tight ends, but I'm looking forward to sending my son when he's older your way to work on his hand skills. So he'll be at football camp this year, the Sharks junior football camp. So
let's do it.
Awesome. Well, hey, I'll let you enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks again, Coach. And thank you, Shark Nation, for watching.
Appreciate you, Steve.
All right, Coach. See ya.